Torrey, thanks so much for giving us your time. As Senior Director of Global Life Sciences, you have a really interesting role at the Greater Houston Partnership in terms of Houston's evolving prominence in the innovation sector. And I wanted to ask first if from an economic development perspective, you could give us kind of a progress report on how Houston is solidifying itself as that third coast for innovation.
Wow. Well, thank you, Kelly. I really do appreciate the time to be able to spend with you to talk. It's an honor for me. To the question, the Greater Houston Partnership has been taking a lot of strides in recent months and within the past year or so to take a specific look at Houston, the region, the 12-county region that we cover, and sort of examine where we are and where we think we can be, and working specifically with our partners and the efforts that they're doing. That would be property management companies, biotech companies, life science companies, and certainly the hospitals and the like, to just sort of take a really broad look at what Houston really is and what we can be. People recognizing that Houston does have so many of the parts in place for us to be a real striving player in the life sciences game. And so when we talk to prospective companies that are considering expanding or perhaps starting something new, or even startup companies, they are in a lot of ways pleasantly surprised when they find out, yes, Houston does have a great academic sort of structure in place with a lot of research and a lot of innovation. And there are over 1,800 life sciences companies that are currently existing in the Greater Houston region. So there's a lot of activity in that regard. And, you know, you look at things like what a lot of people would consider obvious, and certainly I would. We have the largest medical center in the world right in our space.
So you bring such an interesting combination of experience in economic development, but you have your doctorate in chemistry. So how has that combined in serving you to convince companies that Houston is a place for them to be?
My goal was just to, learn as much about science as I possibly could and find ways to solve problems. So it is that spirit that I have carried with me over the years that lends itself to me being where I am today. The idea that somehow, some way, science is going to help solve problems. And so what I've done is I've tried to expand that into the thinking of, okay, if that's my premise, then how can I then, sort of move that or shift that into really actually solving some of the problems that we exist, and what are some of the problems that we see that exist. And so for me, it was an easy transition, much easier than I ever even imagined, because I never thought of myself as using science in an economic development fashion.
As a marketing communications company, we're always interested in hearing about strategies folks have used in overcoming communication challenges. So what communication strategies can you share with me that you've used in your position?
From a marketing perspective and communications, it's so imperative that, we create a voice, a unified voice that is has all of the aspects of all of the parts that exist in the Houston region, and that relates to life sciences and healthcare and all of that goes along with that, and the companies that exist, the academic institutions, so everyone gets to come and have input, and then we package that in some sort of way that says, okay, this is the message that we want to send to the rest of the world about Houston.
What are some of those strategic partners that have really proven to be important to your work?
And certainly the Texas Medical Center, we work very closely with them as a partner in a number of ways. And Bio Houston is another great partner for us and an advocate for the city of Houston and life sciences and the great work that they're doing. The academic institutions, notwithstanding the four-year institutions, Rice University, University of Houston, who we partner with as well, and then our illustrious two-year institutions. I mean, like that whole component of two-year institutions that we have is so critical to our efforts, and that the training that comes from that is what is going to make Houston that much more attractive because of what the two-year institutions are doing. And then there's so many startups, there's the incubator situation that the TMC has, where there's so many companies that get a chance to come in, get started, get support. And the idea is that we want to make sure that the infrastructure is in place for them, that as they grow, that they don't decide to relocate their companies to another area, that they stay here and keep drawing from all of the support that we are trying to give to them, and from the talent that the two-year institutions and the four-year institutions as well is putting together. So we partner with so many different people, so many different groups across the region in an effort to sort of, make sure that we have all of the bases covered, if you will, from talent to infrastructure and to space, and what it is that, what kind of building can be erected in this particular space, or what kind of space already exists that needs, to have a little bit of maneuvering and maybe some cosmetic work so that it looks more attractive to, our prospective couple.
Well, collaboration is definitely the name of the game, and thank you so much for the significant role that you're playing with so many others in building up this important market segment of Houston. And thanks again, Torrey, for your time.
Thank you, Kelly. I certainly appreciate the opportunity, and I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you.